Felton Award. It's truly an honor to receive this award, and my family got to see me receive it not once but twice because of the special way that we've been presenting awards this weekend. And so I want to say thank you to Steve, my husband, who supports me. He travels with me to these things, and we have a fun time while we do that. And my in-laws, Debbie and Rick, are here. And my parents, Michael and Monty. I also have my oldest child right there, Merrick, who yesterday, when I got down off the stage, said, "Mommy, you got to be on the big stage," which was very exciting. So, and if you heard my talk yesterday, you got to hear that there's a special connection. My grandfather and Monty's father, Obi Vaughn, was a lifelong volunteer in the Southwest Society of Orthodontics. And Mark Felton spanned those generations of friendship. He was a friend with Obi Vaughn, and he was a friend and mentor to me. And that really meant a lot. Because the Southwestern Society of Orthodontists, we're a group of volunteer leaders. And we create this place of gathering, a place of rest for our fellow orthodontists. And it's more important than ever. I mean, we have the great resignation happening. We also have this uncertain economy happening right now. We're running our businesses, and it's harder than ever to keep that going while we're also clinicians. And this is a place where volunteers like Mark Felton, who built this society, who inspire us to make this organization a better place for our fellow orthodontists, so we can be better people for our families and for our patients and for the people that we employ. So in the next few minutes, I want to take an opportunity so that you'll see why this award is named after Mark Felton and is so special to us here at the Southwestern Society of Orthodontics. So I was a freshly minted orthodontist a few years ago, just a few. And I started showing up to the Southwestern meetings and talking to leaders and saying, I want to be involved. And Clark Colville, who's actually sitting over here, gave me the opportunity to be a Texas director, which I thought was amazing. So I showed up to my first ad interim in Dallas, and I started learning how to run agendas and what the business of running the Southwestern Society of Orthodontics really was. At the end of this meeting, there were a group of men standing around, and they were talking about how at the AAO, when you serve as volunteers, you show up a day early and you have these caucus meetings and you spend time together. And then not only do you come a day early, you also stay a day late and you vote on the different resolutions that had been discussed at the ad interim. And so I was like, okay, well, I heard about those resolutions. So I went home, I knew I was planning to come to the AAO. I moved my plane ticket so I could come a day early and stay a day late. I made my hotel reservations and extended them. And I showed up and I just looked up where the caucus was and I walked into that meeting right then and there. And I started eating breakfast and I got the pieces of paper. And you know, this kind of magical figure of Mark Felton appeared to my right as I was doing all these things. And this was before digitization, so there was no online anything. So we had 5-6 packets coming at us. We were turning the pages. I had the summary. I had to keep track of what constituency thought what, how I was going to vote. And I was just having a great time. When I had questions, I would lean over to Mark Felton. And when he saw me doing something that was maybe on the wrong page, he would turn that for me. And I sat there all morning with Mark Felton teaching me every minute of how to be a servant leader in that House of Delegates. So we got to the end of the morning, and it was time to break for lunch. And so I was like, okay, we're gonna go break for lunch. And Clark Colville, who had recruited me to be a Texas director, and I had shown up to be a Texas director that day, was addressing the group. He goes, and before we adjourn, Bryn Cooper, in what capacity are you here today? My eyes got as big as saucers, and my voice got a little higher pitched, and he said, Texas director? And he goes, Clark chuckled. He looked at Mark, he goes, has she got it? Mark said, put her in coach. So what had happened, if you're familiar with the positions, is that Texas director is not assigned to show up to the House of Delegates. Not at all. You're supposed to be a delegate or an alternate delegate. But what also had happened, in fortunate circumstance, is that a delegate could not come because of family health reasons, and they were short person that year. And they actually needed me as long as I could fulfill that role. So I got to fill out the conflict of interest forms, and I headed into the House of Delegates. Once again, Mark Felton sitting by my side the entire time. And I remember asking him, we were headed in, and it was the year that it was the first year that we were going to take liquid reserves for the cap. And this was a huge deal because it had been all over Facebook. This was a good thing, this was a bad thing, it was controversial, the residents had something to say. And I felt like I was going to give my opinion in a way that really mattered as this newly minted orthodontist. And I was looking at Mark and I said, so, how do you think I should go? I don't know, there's all this discussion, there's no consensus. And he goes, no, Bryn, you go vote your conscience. And that's something that the Southwestern Society has stood for so long. And it's also something that Mark taught those that he helped coach into this servant leadership. So he sought us out, Mark did. Not just me, many of you in this room. He taught me to yell at Oklahoma. He taught us how to exchange ideas and how to share insights. And he showed us how to be a part of something that's bigger than ourselves. And that is why, through this award, we honor the memory of J. Mark Felton.